All right. First, my cat wants to say hello. Well, actually, he wants to talk to the light. What is it about the light? Why are you so interested in the light? Nobody knows. He's just enjoying himself. This is Flick, for those of you who don't know. And I call him Flick because of the white right there on his nose. He's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, probably. And he has a brother. And then I have an old cat, which is a long-haired orange cat named Charlie. He's around somewhere. But this is the only one who comes when I make videos. He likes to be here and get in the way of me making videos. It's a very important thing for him. He does this a lot. It's like, oh, you're going in that room. I will come join you. You're going to go sit in that room now? Okay, here we go. It's very curious. All right, so I'm going to try to make this video. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm probably going to stumble and bumble my way through it. But I'm going to show you guys how I roll up a D&D character. We assembled a group a few months ago, several months ago, and rolled up characters, and I had so much fun rolling up the characters, and then we never played. we got it all set up, and we were, okay, we're going to try to play in like 1 or 2 weeks, and it never happened. It never worked out. So frustrating. And one guy brought his girlfriend, and they broke up like, a week later or 2 weeks later, whatever it was. Maybe it was a month later. I don't know. But it was like, well, there goes that gaming group. So still might reassemble a gaming group, and they have, 3 of them have characters. There were only 4 people showed up. But this is my character sheet that I created myself, highly influenced by this Castles and Crusades rulebook. This is the one I like. I'm not saying the big, thick ones are bad. I'm saying I prefer this. I prefer a much thinner, more bare bones rulebook. Now, I say that, and first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was not a bare bone rules. It was pretty rules intensive, but it was still that's the best one. It's better than second edition. I like second edition a lot. I don't want anything to do with Wizards of the Coast D&D. I will play. I shouldn't say I don't want anything to do. I will play it with a group and gladly learn the system, but I think their system sucks, just so we're clear. And I have my reasons, and I've written articles about it, and people have agreed with me, and people have criticized me for having an opinion. How dare I? How dare I say this sucks, and here's why it's bad. And it's like, oh, you just don't understand. You're just one of those old men yelling at a cloud. Oh my God, that stupid, lame crap that people say, oh yeah, you're just an old man yelling at a cloud. No. We have legitimate criticisms of the game. Lots of people have legitimate criticisms of Wizards of the Coast D&D. It's not that all of their rules are dumb. There's a lot of good stuff in there, of course, no doubt. It wouldn't be popular if there weren't. But there are so many silly rules, and we all know why they wrote them. Everybody knows why they wrote those rules that they wrote. And again, I wrote an article, something like 10 rules that I think are bad from Wizards of the Coast, something like that. But it doesn't matter. So this is my character sheet, highly influenced by Castles and Crusades, which is why you're going to see things like primary attribute. The PRI stands for primary. These are your ability scores, your attributes. It doesn't matter what you call them. All right. And then we've got your class, and if you're multi-class, I've got room here for 2. I don't believe in doing triple class. You could, but I don't see the point of that. Keeping track of your hit points. Here's the attribute modifiers from the Castles and Crusades book. Luck is something that I have yet to try. I just created a thing on luck, another aspect of the game that might make it fun. Don't know. Keeping track of your defense rolls, your armor class, but in my game it's my own system, and so you have a defense rating: left flank, right flank, rear. Your weapons, your attack rating, your level of proficiency, which could be different with each level, where with first edition, if you're a 7th level fighter, all of your weapons you attack at 7th level fighter. Not necessarily in my game. Maybe a completely unnecessary rule, don't know. Weapons versus armor class if you're wearing plate, banded, splint, chain, scale, or leather. And then there will be adjustments for that. Some people use these rules, some people don't. Some people don't like them. I think they make sense that certain weapons would be harder or easier to hit your opponent with based on the armor they're wearing. And then we have the saving throws down here, which I think Castles and Crusades did a really good job of, which is primarily what I use. And so each saving throw is tied to one of your ability scores, each type of saving throw. And it's really cool. So then you keep your experience points in the front. We used to keep them on the back of our page when we first played back in the 80s. And I'm like, this should be in the front, so you don't have to keep going back there, turning your page over. And then you're keeping your track of your rations. And then on the back, it's just what equipment, what's in your backpack, do you have sacks, what's in them, belt pouches, and what's your normal gear, armor, clothing, and stuff. Magical items, money, gems, jewelry. And then your racial abilities, your class skills. This I took from 2nd edition because I do like this. Although I do agree with Bill Sylvie, the Dungeon Delver, that most of those are unnecessary. It is assumed that you know how to build a fire and you know how to survive in the wilderness, at least moderately so. And I would say, right, the secondary skills, your non-weapon proficiencies, would show what you're skilled at. So it's like, yes, you know how to build a fire. Yes, you know how to cook food probably, so you don't need those skills. But you could still incorporate them as saying you're highly skilled. For instance, swimming. He said everybody knows how to swim. Okay, everybody at least knows how to dog paddle. We could say that. You could say that you don't know how to swim unless you take the non-weapon proficiency swimming. But I understand that everybody should at least be able to dog paddle, but not necessarily. But what you can do is you can say if you take swimming, it means you're really good at swimming, and you can take a double proficiency, which means you're like an Olympic swimmer. You're an amazing swimmer. And that is with all of the secondary skills in 2nd edition. I think overall it adds to the flavor of the game. So I keep track here, your level of skill, your initial number, your attribute check, the cost, whether you have to use 1 slot or 2 slots or 3 slots for that skill. And I allow up to double proficiency. I initially said triple proficiency. That's silly. There's no reason for that. All right, so that's the sheet. This is my little page that I made for rolling up the characters. I just realized I got to go grab some dice. Okay. So we'll go over this as we go through it. I'm not going to go into it now. But I've also created this page. I've never used this yet, but if some people want to develop their backstory, they want to develop more about their character. So this is a sheet that I created for you to really develop your character. It's totally optional. I do not require it in my game. But here's your family tree, basically who's alive in their age, whether they're alive or dead. So you have all this information about the different family members, and then on the back about your deity. If you worship a deity, what all is about that deity, the personality, the allies, the enemies, the requirements of worshipers or clerics, the benefits, the limitations, things like that. So I created that for those who want to get into deeper character development. I'm not in any rush to play this game. I don't mind if we take an hour to roll up characters or 5 minutes. It doesn't matter to me. I want it to be an enjoyable experience. And so what we did was what I call a communal character creation. Each of the players rolled up their character in front of everyone else. So only one person rolled. The other 3 people, and myself, of course, observed the rolls. We wanted to see what kind of character they were going to have, which helps you to really be able to connect with each other. Because a lot of times when you play, I always remembered I would like, wait, what is your character again? Who is this? And when you do it this way, it takes longer. But again, I was in no rush. I'm not in any rush. I don't care if I don't care if it takes 10 game sessions to go through a module. It doesn't matter. I don't want to rush, because rushing is what has made our games, you lose something in the game when you tend to rush, and I prefer to take my time. So the communal character creation thing just made sense to me, because if this was real, let's just say you and your friends are playing D&D. If you were actually in the world, magic happened and you were transported to that world, how would you go about things? And I want when we're playing D&D, I want it to feel as close to this is real as you can get, where you really get into what's going on. Now, that's a very hard thing to do, and I'm not the best dungeon master. I mean, I did the best I could. We all did. None of us were really good at being a dungeon master, because being a dungeon master is hard. There's so many things you have to keep track of, and it's just very, very hard, unless you simplify the game, which some people do, and that's really what BECMI D&D was all about. Basic D&D is if you don't want to get into all the details, you can keep it easier. All right, so I just realized I'm missing my pencil now. Hold on. All right, I am going to ramble here and probably talk longer than I need to, but again, I'm not concerned. All right, so we start with a blank sheet of paper, and D&D originally arranged these as strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, and charisma. And some people think that's the correct way. I've read lots of Facebook comments. This is the correct way to do it. Some people realize that why they changed it. It doesn't matter what order you put it in, but they've changed it by putting them in physical attributes and mental attributes. And since that made more sense, I decided, let's just do it that way. It's much easier. That way you can see what your physical stats. You don't have to go, let's see, strength, intelligence. Okay, it's just easier to read for me. But again, I don't care. You could flip them upside down and start with your charisma at top. It doesn't matter, and I don't understand why people think there's a correct way to do it. The reason it was done the way it was done was the 4 main characters in the game were fighter, magic user, cleric, and thief. Strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity. That's why it was in that order. At least that's what I think was the reason, because those were the 4 main character types. Then you've got your subclasses: druid, illusionist, monk, ranger, and on and on. And whatever else you have today. I took the Castles and Crusades Barbarian and Monk and Bard, but I made them better because I felt they needed a little bit more juice than they gave them. Maybe I overdid it, I don't know, but we're not going to get into that today. So what I do initially for your characters, we're going to roll 3d6 in order, just the way it was intended, hardcore rules, and I offer that this 3d6 in order can be your hardcore character, which whatever you roll for your hit die is what your hit points are. Or we could still do a minimum, because I do a minimum hit points, and the bare minimum for every character is 5, 7 for fighters, I think 6 for clerics and druids, 9 for rangers and barbarians, something like that. So, I'm losing my train of thought now. So whether we use minimum hit points for your hardcore character or not, we never did it. Nobody decided to have that second character. But in a 4-player game, if everybody played a second character, that would probably be better, because 8 characters would have a much better chance of survival. So we're just going to roll and see what our hardcore character is going to be. Is he going to suck or not? All right, so 8 strength. That's bad in Wizards of the Coast D&D. It's no problem in AD&D. Your modifiers are 0. No penalties for an 8. Dexterity. You're not going to be able to see it, but I have no reason to cheat here. So I rolled a 10. So again, that's normal, but that's normal in, I think, every edition. My pencil's a little off here. All right, 10. All right, I'll try to roll it right there. Oh, not quite. 8. 8 Constitution. So this is not a good character. He's not, 8 is still not a good roll, but you don't have any penalties. So at least there's that. Sheesh. 8 intelligence. All right. And this will be part of your main character. These are your initial rolls for your main character, but this is also your hardcore character. So, oh, look, finally we have something that's decent. We have a 12 wisdom. We considered 12, when we were rolling with 46, 12 just sucked. So we were used to 15 and above. All right, so 10. So that's your hardcore character, and once you determine, and you can make that character whatever you qualify to be. You can't be a fighter, but you can be a rogue, you can be a cleric, and that's about it. So whatever it is, we would roll your hit points, and whatever you roll, that's your starting hit points, or we could go with the minimum, but it doesn't really matter. It's your second character, and it might be fun to play a hardcore character as your second character. So now we're going to improve this character by rolling these dice again, but we're gonna roll them 9 different times. I could change that to 6 or 7. I could go all the way to 12 if I want to give you a better chance to get a really good character. Usually the character ends up good with this system. Not always. We'll see. But every time you roll, you have to decide, what are you rolling for? What are you trying to improve? So I'm going to try to improve my strength right now because I have 3 8s here, and I want to get all of these up to at least a 9. But I might roll bad. We'll just hope it happens. So I got an 11. All right. So we've got 9 rolls to do. So that's an 11. So now we'll try our Constitution. Yay. An 11. All right. Well, 11 is better. It's still nothing great. Intelligence. I don't have to do intelligence. I could just say, I don't care about intelligence. I want to keep going. You can go anywhere. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to try to improve my intelligence because overall that will make my character better if he's not as dumb with an 8 intelligence. That's not a very intelligent person. So I'm going to just try. And I get an 8. So that's a nothing. We're going to try one more. Why not? All right. 13 intelligence. There we go. So do I go for a 10 dexterity or a 10 charisma? I don't care about charisma for this character unless I'm trying to get a paladin or a bard or a druid. I'm not going to worry about charisma. 10 is fine. So I'm going to try dexterity because dexterity is a big deal. For my game, it makes you harder to hit if you have a high dexterity, but it can also improve your attack. A person with a high dexterity should have a better chance to hit their opponent in melee combat, not just missile. This is the one change that I made from first edition. It's your strength and dexterity combined. I was going to do a big chart where you have, 3 to 18 this way and 3 to 18 this way, and you get a little box or whatever. And I didn't. I just went with a total number. So like if your strength and dex combined is a 30, that's like 15 and 15, you'd get a bonus. But if it was a 26, let's say, and one of them was 16 and the other one was 10, you don't get a to hit bonus. I forget what the minimum was. It was like 28 or 29. I forget. It doesn't matter for this. For this purpose, it doesn't matter. All right, let's try to improve our dexterity. We did. All right, we got a 13. So better. So now I have a decision to make. Do I want to continue that, or do I want a fighter, or do I want con? Con is so important because you get extra hit points, you get better saves to disease and poison. I'd love to get up to 14. 14 on my game, 14 is where you get the +1 bonus, not 13. In AD&D it was 15. Strength it was 16. You would get a +1 damage bonus with a 16 strength. That's what D&D was. My game, you get it with 14. So I'm going to roll for strength first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only got 4 more rolls, but let's see if we can get lucky. Oh yeah, finally, 16 strength. There we go. So now I'm strong. I've got a decent dexterity. All I need now is constitution. I'm not concerned with these numbers. 13, 12, and 10 are fine. Now, do I go for constitution or do I go for dexterity? I have a better chance to improve my con. What if I roll a 12 or a 13? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 rolls to go. I'm going to try con the first roll and just hope. Wow, there we go. 15. My goodness, that was lucky. All right, now all I need to do is get my dexterity up to at least a 14. Might not do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 2 rolls. Oh, a 3. Good thing I didn't roll that in my my initial 3d6. That would have really sucked. And the last roll, nope, nothing. So, all right, so that's my character. So we are going to mark these numbers on here. And you can see another thing here you might be wondering about are these percentiles next to the ability scores. I'll get into that in a second. All right, so 16 strength. Now these will further be adjusted by your age and your race, which I guess I should get into that before I fill these out. It's better to get the adjustments done right away. So the first thing on my sheet is determine race and class. By going in order, I don't get confused like, oh wait, what haven't we done yet? I just go down the list and I know that we've done everything. So determining race and class. All right, let me set all of this aside. We'll bring this over. No, I can leave this here. That's fine. All right, my player's handbook that I wrote. These are it needs work. It needs to be rewritten, but that's okay. So for race and class, as you can see, I've already made some adjustments here. Ranger is, what is it? I need a 13, 9, 14, 13, 14. Hard to be a ranger in my game. I might lower those back down. I don't know why I was thinking to make them higher. But I do qualify, but I don't qualify with wisdom, but that's okay. That's okay. I said 14, and I think I originally wrote 12 there. Regardless, in my game, if you do not qualify, let's just say you need a 14 here, and you only have a 12, I could still be a ranger. I would suffer a 5% experience point penalty for every point I'm short. So if I had an 8 strength, I could be a ranger, but I would suffer a 25% experience point penalty. I'm not a very good ranger. So the minimums, so if you're off by 1 point, you can still be what you want to be, including paladin, magic user, whatever. 5% experience point penalty for each point you are short of your qualification. That's for all of them, all the numbers. So I'm not worried about it. Why not? We'll just go for a ranger. All right. As a ranger, rangers can only be elf, half-elf, halfling, and half-orc. That's my game. First edition is different than this, but those are my level limits. A lot of people don't use level limits. I do, but what we do in my game, or what I do in my game, is once you've reached this level limit, you can still advance, but at 50%. So you get half the experience you would normally get. This to me makes more sense for game balance. For the races, they would go up slower ultimately than a human, but at least they can still go up. I think in first edition, one of the races was limited to 4th level in one of the classes. They could only get the 4th level. Like, why would anybody ever play that? Well, a lot of the game is the first 4 levels, and you won't even notice anything. But I feel like if at that point you went up at half the pace, you can still go up, but not as fast as everybody else. And to me, that makes more sense. Now, some people are going to disagree with my rules, but just realize in my opinion, there's no wrong way to play D&D, your game, your rules. And if I were to play with someone, whatever the rules they're playing, I'm not going to criticize them. I might question them and talk to them about it and say, hey, what do you think about this rule instead? I might do that, but I'm not going to argue rules with people because I think that's a real pathetic thing to do as a player. I think that's very immature and silly. All right, so we're going to do well. No, let me. I didn't pick my race. I'm going to go with an elven ranger. I want the elven abilities, so we're going to write elf right here, right now. Race elf. Level 1, first level. Alignment will be neutral good because rangers are some form of good. Movement for in my game is 40 feet per round, and then it's normal. That's normal movement. Ranger. Okay. We'll roll for birthday later. We'll do height and weight later. Elf abilities adjustments. So as an elf, your adjustments are -1 strength. So let's bring this up here. See, I'm going to bumble through this. All right, -1 strength. So now it's a 15. Dexterity +2 to dexterity. These are different from the first edition adjustments. Nothing was more than +1 or -1. I've increased them. -1 constitution, because elves aren't, that makes sense for elves. They're a little more vulnerable, but nothing significant. +1 to intelligence. I could make that +2 since it's an elf, but I chose +1. And +1 to charisma, to me, just makes more sense. And then there's no adjustment for wisdom. All right, so now, age. I forgot to do age. So now we go to elf. Can you see that? Yeah, elf ranger is right here, 140 plus 6d6. Can you see that? All right, 140 plus 66 is my starting age. So there's 13 and 12 is 25. So 165 years old, and your physical and mental age at the beginning of the game are exactly the same. Those can change through magic. That's why I have a physical and mental. It may never change, obviously. That rarely happens. What was the other thing I'm missing here? All right, so we go down to elf with their age at 165. I'm still a young adult. Young adult, and this is all in the first edition. I'm doing it very similar to how first edition does it. I have no modifiers. I'm getting rid of them all at young adult. Just a -1 to your wisdom. And then you get it back when you're mature. So it's effectively 0. These are cumulative adjustments. That's why there's no adjustment here. This is just how I think it makes more sense. It's not the same as what first edition did. So all I have to do is lower my wisdom by 1 point. So that is now a 15 strength. See, I shouldn't have marked that. All right, 15 strength. Dexterity is now 15. Constitution is 14. So that's a +1 bonus to my hit points and saving throws. 14 intelligence. I'm going to lose 1 point of wisdom as an elf. So as a young adult, I should say. Not quite, my wisdom's not there yet. It'll be a 12 when I reach maturity. And charisma is +1, so 11. Okay. All right. So that is my character. We're not going to do the hardcore character. There's no reason to do that right now. I can close this book and we'll move on. Now see, normally I'm just looking at that and the player's got this. I'm trying to do both here, so it's going to be a little bit more cumbersome to do this. All right, so we roll height, weight, and adjust attributes accordingly. This is your height. This is my height weight table. I forget where I saw this, but I liked it. I think I modified it a little bit, but I really like it. So you roll 2d20. I don't know why I put 40 there, but it's 2d20. So now I'm going to grab those dice. And my starting age is, I do need to open up that book again. So I only rolled 7 for my height. Okay, let me see where that is. Okay, so my height, I rolled a 7, -11%. The average height of an elf is 5 feet 6 inches, so 66 inches times 89% gives you a height of 58 inches, which is that, did I do that right? 5, 6, so he'd be, is that right? Let me double check this. Yeah, that's right. So I'm really short. I'm 4 feet 11 inches tall. -11%. Well, That's what it is. That's what it is. So then you adjust and you figure out weight, and I'll just let you read that little thing. It's a little table that you use to adjust for the weight, because now I'm going to be lighter because I'm only 411, but I could still be heavy. I could still roll here and add percentages to it, but there's a category shift which is explained here. If you don't understand it, don't worry. I'm still confused by it, but I kind of understand it when I go through it. So we're just going to roll again, and with the category shift of -2. All right, so I rolled a 28, category shift -2. So I'm in category 9, category shift is -2, so I'm there. So there's no adjustment. So I'm heavier. I'm an elf who's only 411, but I'm the same weight of a normal sized elf. So I'm actually a little fat for an elf. And the male elf weighs on average 120 pounds. So there you go. I'm 4'11", 120. Jeez. That's funny. All right. Then, after we've done that, you complete the top half of the character sheet. Alignment, movement, blah, 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 blah. I've already done some of it. And then we'll fill out the saving throw. So we go through this. 15 strength gives you a +1 damage bonus. You just put this on your character sheet. I'm trying to see if I can get this a little bit more. Let me see if I can turn this around here. All right, that's a little bit better. Press means, what this means is a 15 strength, I can lift 150 pounds in a military press. I can lift it over my head. Deadlift, I think I said twice that amount. So I can deadlift 300 pounds. I think it's that. It's either 2 times or 3 times. If somebody knows what is more correct, let me know. But that's what I can deadlift. All right. Rarely comes up. My dexterity of 15 gives me, my dexterity of 15 and my strength of 15 gives me a 30. I don't think that's a +2. I'm looking it up now on my table. I guess I can show you my table as well. And I've made some adjustments to it as well. So 30 is +1. It was +2, but I changed it. I'm like, yeah, it should just be +1. So +1 to hit. And that's my attack. My defense is +1. Your 15 is +1. So my defense is 1 better. It's not armor class. It's your defense bonus. And I don't have to get into that right now. My missile attack is also +1. That's usually the same. Well, no, it's totally based on your dex. Your attack is based on your dex and your strength combined. All right, hit point adjustment for a con is +1. System shock, I do just like first edition uses, but I changed it a little bit. Let me see if I can find where that is on here. Yeah, Constitution, System Shock, Resurrection is on page 55. Look at that, I turned right to it. And a 14 Constitution gives me, I changed it, I upped them a little bit, made them a little better, 85 and 90. So that's good, obviously. 85%, 90% Resurrection. Languages, well, it's 14 is a +1 bonus, so whatever I can learn 1 more. None of this matters, so I can just do this and just ignore it. It's irrelevant, but this way you just know. I have no ability to turn undead, so all of this is irrelevant. Reaction loyalty is 0. Don't need to put negative there. Still not very good at doing reaction loyalty stuff with charisma. I've never gotten really good at that. My luck, if I were to do luck at first level, which we weren't going to do because I didn't want to add that element to the game, but your starting luck, I'm going to just show you how it works, is 5 to 8. D4 plus 4. So I have 7 points of luck. And what that means, if we were using luck, anything that happens in the game, you could say at any point, I want to test my luck. If you make your luck roll, you get whatever you were trying to get. Like, let's just say you rolled a hit and you missed. You could say, I want to use my luck and try to turn that into a hit. If you can roll 7 or less, it's a hit. If you fail, something negative happens, equivalent to whatever it is you're trying to do. So it could be like your opponent gets a +1 to hit you, or you get a -1 to hit on your next attack, something like that. You just make it up on the fly as you go. So I would just make the roll, and I failed. If I succeed, my luck would go up to an 8. I'm getting lucky. If I fail, my luck would go down. You say, well, eventually it's going to go to 0. No. 5 is the lowest you can start with. It can go down to 4. It could go to 3, but that's very hard. You'd have to have a string of bad luck for it. It can never go lower than that. That is the worst. The highest it can go, so initially 8. If you can get it up to 9, but then it's really hard to get it up to 10. Just like it's really hard to get it down to 3. So it is the range is really 3 to 10, but it's really 4 to 9. And 9 is you're pretty lucky. You've got almost a 50% chance of succeeding at something that you initially failed at. And it could be anything. It doesn't matter. If we can come up with okay, what would it mean if you made your luck roll? What would it mean if you fail your luck roll? That's all you have to do. And I think it, again, adds another dimension of role play for the game. So class, I'm a ranger. Now rogue is also an R, but I know that I'm a ranger. My die, in first edition, you had 2d8. That's not a good rule, in my opinion. Second edition went with D10. I stuck with D10 pretty sure. Let me double check. Right, so here's my ranger, and a lot of this stuff is bad. I'm all the experience point stuff I wrote, I'm totally dropping that. That was just me being silly, and I've changed some of the experience point table stuff. Skill points, we might get into that. I can show you some stuff with that. The Ranger's Code of Conduct is here. The Ranger abilities are over here. Most of this is from Castles and Crusades, and it's very well done. I still have to work on the Rogue. I've got some issues with the Rogue still. I'm not sure if I want to go back to what first edition did with percentile rolls, because I really like the percentile rolls, and I might just go back to that. So that is my hit points. I'm going to roll. That is my hit die, I should say. I'm going to roll my D10. I'm guaranteed a minimum of 9 hit points for Rangers. Rangers get +4 to their die roll. So let's see if I get lucky. So I'm going to have a good amount. 7 + 4 is 11, + 1 is 12. So I start with 12 hit points. That's really good. So the most I could have started with would have been 15. In first edition, you could have 24 hit points. You could also have 2 for the Ranger. I don't like that. So my hit points total is 12. They're per level, your hit points per level. Okay, then I think that's everything on the top part. So now we want to fill out the saving throws. All right. How do we do saving throws? Well, actually, no, we have to do something else. So here is my elf, all about the elf, and then all of their abilities are over here, and we would go over the abilities. I won't do that now. I'll just let you see them, and you would fill those in. And then we would also roll for our non-weapon proficiencies, which are, where are they? I can just show them to you real quickly. So here are our non-weapon proficiencies. Let me get that in the thing there. Ranger has, initially I said 6, I've upped them, 8 slots for non-weapon proficiencies, and they gain 1 every 2 levels. And then if you go to the non-weapon proficiencies, the table, well, actually the table's right there. What am I saying? So you've got your general categories, which is right out of second edition. You have a rogue category, which I ignore. I can do general and fighter. I can pick from those 3 spots to pick my starting proficiencies. And then I write them on the back of the sheet here, which we don't need to do right now. We're gonna do the other stuff, and I would just fill them in here, and how many slots I use. So like if I wanted to have blacksmithing is going to cost me 2 slots, and my check for doing it is strength. So I would write that on the sheet. Blacksmithing, my level of proficiency is either 1 or 2. So if I want to do double proficiency, I would have to spend 4 points, and I would have level 2 blacksmith, which means I'm a great blacksmith. Level 1, I'm good. I'm good at it. I'm skilled at it, but nothing amazing. And my skill blacksmith attribute strength cost 2. And your initial number, that's what I should have put down for you right here, is 8 and 1 every 2. And then I would write whatever I'm going to write on my thing for my skills. All right, but we don't need to do that now. So you would go over all of your elven abilities. For instance, they get a +2 bonus to checks involving hearing. They're surprised on only a 3 and 12. Normally you're surprised on a 4 and 12. I changed it from a D6 to a D12 to add a little bit more of a variety there, a little bit more variable, basically is what I'm doing. The whole spot hidden doors, move silently. These are things that elves can do. They're highly resistant to sleep and charm, receiving a +10 bonus to their saving throw, things like that. They get their +1 attack bonus with sword and bow. So you have all these little abilities that are nice that you can add to your character, but what we have to do is pick what our primary attributes are. Now, when you're a ranger, that's the page I needed to go to. I need to go back to ranger. All right, let me go over there. I know this is looking very complicated, but again, I'm doing both the DM and player here, so it's a little harder. Primary attribute of a ranger is strength or constitution, your choice. Fighters' primary is strength, magic users is intelligence, etc. So I'm going to go with con, because I really want my con to be my primary. Now I get to select one other one. So the question is, what do I select? Well, let me just go here. Rangers whose dexterity, constitution, or strength are secondary attributes, so if they are not my primary, I get a +2 bonus to all of those checks. Because I'm a ranger, which is more physical oriented. Fighters, rangers, paladins, they get a +2 bonus to their physical stats that are secondary skills. The base is 18, that would lower it to 16. The primary is 12. So do I want to make my strength or dex one of my other primary? I'm going to say no. I could, because dexterity is really important, but I'm going to go with charisma. Even though it's an 11, that doesn't really matter. I'm going to make charisma my other primary. Now, I get a +2 on my strength and dexterity. Let me check if there's anything else for an elven ranger. I'm not sure. Oh, and I did this wrong. I already have a +1 bonus to my saving throws. So this, I don't know. I leave it there at +2. I have a +1 bonus with the 14 intelligence. These others are 0. So I'm either supposed to put +2 or +3 here, and I'm supposed to put +1 and 0, or I just do it down here under my saving throws. I don't remember I think I just leave it like that on top. I think that was the difference. All right. I know I'm confusing you, and I'm bumbling through this like I said I would right at the start. I said I was probably going to bumble through this, but let me bring this down a little bit and show you how this works. All right. So my primary, again, is strength and charisma. I choose the second one. Humans get in Castles and Crusades, they get a third one. That means, boy, why would you not play a human just for that major bonus of saving throws? I did a half a bonus for one more, and I didn't include that. I'm going to do that to my dexterity, because dexterity dodging things is really important. So I am going to make this. Oh, no. What am I saying? That would only be for human. I'm thinking half elven now, which does get something like that. All right, so I don't get that bonus. Okay. I get, let me see if there's anything else here. I'm sorry. All right, going to do plus 10 versus sleep and charm. And I'll just write it there. But we know that elves are highly resistant to that stuff, and it never really affects them. And I don't think there's anything else that I need to know. All right, modifier. My 15 strength gives me a +1 modifier. Dexterity has a +1 modifier. 14, that gives a +1 modifier. So this means the base is 12. I get a +1. The base is 11. You get to add your level. So I really only need a 10 at first level. So your saving throws without any bonuses or penalties are either 11 or 17 at first level. So here, dexterity, that is... I have a +2 bonus, so I can put that here, just like I did on my sheet up above. And I also have a plus, why did I, oh yeah, why did I say, I did that wrong, see? Okay, all righty, all right. I said con, not strength. All right, so strength, I get a +2 bonus. So the base is 18. And I have +2 and +1 modifier, so it's a 15. So strength saving throws, I need a 15, I need a 14 because of my level, so I really should write that as 14 because you get to add your level. All right, so dexterity is exactly the same, 14. 18 minus 2, 16 minus 1 more, 15, plus your level lowers it to 14. So my con is a 12, 11. So I only need a 10 to save, make a con save. So intelligence is base 18. I have a +1, which lowers it to 17. So I need a 16. Wisdom is an 18. I have nothing. Level 1 needs a 17. Again, you add your level to your saving throw. My saving throw is an 18, but I'm level 1, so it's a 17. Just wanted to go over that so you understand it. And it's clearer if you write what you need here. Don't write 18, and then like when you're third level, that would be 15. You're going to be sitting there making calculations. You don't want to make calculations. You want to look at your saving throws. You're going to sometimes have to make calculations like the sleep charm bonus. But the clearer you can have this, and then this will show you, well, why is it that number? Well, I got this and I got this. And it just keeps track, because we got so confused a lot of times with saving throws. We would think we only needed a 10, and it turned out we only needed an 8 and things like that. I'm going back in the day when we played back in the 80s and 90s. All right, so charisma is a 12, and I only need, therefore, an 11. Right, because I have no bonuses to that one. Okay, so charisma 11, con 10. So yes, I did that right. So those are my saving throws. Then we go to my sheet, and the next thing we need to do is list racial abilities, class abilities. So I would write all that down, all of this stuff down on the back of my character sheet under racial abilities and class skills. All right, and then we would fill that all in. I won't do that now. Select weapon and non-weapon proficiencies. Under class abilities, include starting weapons of proficiency if there's room. So again, I'm not going to write all those down. You can write under your class abilities what you are proficient in. Just because you're proficient in something doesn't mean you own it. I could be proficient in a short sword, but I might not own a short sword. So I don't want to write my proficiencies here. I'm writing here what I have, which is probably what I'm proficient with. It usually is just that, and you won't have to write anything on here. But if you did, you'd write it under class skills, and that's just a clarification thing that I'm doing. So I'm not going to bother listing that right now. and don't have to pick any spells. I could pick a deity. There's a book that I have where I can show the player, here are a list of deities for neutral good elven rangers. And I could show them what their options are. There might be 2 or 3, maybe. I'm not even sure. So then you roll your starting silver. I use a silver standard, not a gold standard, because that makes silver and copper much more valuable in the game, like actually usable. So you don't just dump when you find treasure. We just left the silver and copper. We never bothered with it because it had no value in the game. And I never understood that. So I'm going to buy rations, but I'm not going to mark that. That'll be when I go shopping, which I won't do now. I'm not gonna go over spending the money. But starting money, let me find that. All right, so for the ranger, my starting money is 5d4, 50 to 200 silver pieces. I would just roll that and mark that right here on my starting silver. And maybe I would get some copper pieces too. I usually give them silver and copper just because. Then we list weapons carried, add weapon and armor type adjustments here if you need to, and flesh out the character, adding characteristics like eye and hair color, personality traits, goals, desires, fill out family background, the thing I showed you before, if they want to do that. Totally optional. And that's it. I know it took a while. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm trying to do both things at once. It was a little clumsy when I did this with the 4 people who showed up, because people are talking, people are looking at stuff, and it can get cumbersome. The Dungeon Minister, one of my favorite YouTube channels, they play Beck Me D&D. He plays with his kids and his wife, and he says it takes us like 5 minutes to roll up a character. So that's okay. But then I would also write my, that's nice that you can roll up characters that fast, and I don't think that's a bad thing by any means. But I need 1,700 experience points. 5th edition players watching this video are going, what the hell? To get to 2nd level, I need 1,700 experience points. I'm also going to get 2 skill points. Now, where you keep track of your skill points, that's going to be tricky, but you really don't need to keep track of them. Let me just show you my skill point chart. Everybody gets some kind of skill points other than magic users. The fighter, or warrior if you prefer, gets the most. They have the most skill points. They get 3 to start. Rangers, barbarians, and paladins get 2. So with 2 points, as you can, let me set this up here. I can take any of these things, but only the ones that you can start at 1st level. I can take an attack skill, a defense skill, being able to flee. I'm skilled at, anybody can flee. Anybody can make a fleeing shot in combat. It just gives you a little bonus to your ability. Defense skill, everybody has this at a 2-to-1 ratio. So you can improve your attack skill 1 point in my game by lowering your defense by 2. It'll give you a +1 bonus to your attack. Anyone can do that up to 4 times. So you could go +8, +4 attack, -8 defense. If I have the attack skill, it's 1-to-1. You can do it up to 4 times. So -1 attack, -1 defense, +1 attack, up to +4 attack, -4 defense. You can do this round per round as you go. You can decide, I really need to hit this guy, I'm going to increase my attack, but then you're lowering your defense. If you're skilled, it's a 1-to-1. If you're not skilled, it's 2-to-1. You have to give up 2 points of attack to increase your defense by 1. You have to give up 2 points of defense to increase your attack by 1. Up to +4, -8. So having these skills are really nice. And then at 2nd level, you can learn the dodge skill or the disarm skill. Then there's knockdown, weapon specialization, which nobody can get until 3rd level. But it takes 5, you need 5 points to get it. Now, you say, well, how are you going to get those points? because I know that's what you were asking right away. You get points per level. And so at second level, the Ranger has 4, then 7, then 9. Now, if he has a high intelligence, then he gets a bonus. Plus 1 point if he has a 16 or 17 intelligence. I don't. And if he has an 18 intelligence, then he gets 2 extra points, and he's now getting more points than the fighter, who gets 3. Let me just go to the fighter page so you can see what I'm talking about. So that's how many the fighter gets. He has 37 points at 9th level. The Ranger has 26. Big difference. And then whatever skills they get as they go up levels, I've written here on the character sheet. I need to fix my experience point bonus thing. That was silly. I put the race level limits here so they're in front of you on the page. I like that. And I really like these Ranger abilities. A lot of them are from Castles and Crusades, but they're really cool. I really like the Castles and Crusades system. So let me see here. Bring up my father's wild art. I'll just show it real quickly. This is I put this upside down. This to me reminds me a little bit of the Eye of Sauron. That's a big face. Let me turn it this way. There you go. And I put it upside down accidentally. I had to put stuff on the back to glue it, and so I could hang it. And if you look at that upside down, that's his mouth right there, and that's his big eye. So very wild thing. And somehow it survived, even though it's paper. As you can see, it's falling apart over. Where's the camera? Over there. It's falling apart, but it's survived a long time. Very long time. Yeah, I guess I should show you the attribute modifier thing. This is right out of Castles and Crusades. I slightly altered it, but see, 14 and 15 gives you +1, 16, 17 +2, 18 +3, and if you can somehow get to a 19 +4. But I use exceptional strength from first edition, from 1801 to 1800. I can't believe they got rid of that. Oh, good, they wanted to make it easier. No, exceptional strength was what fighters have, but I know that in 5th edition, fighters get all kinds of ridiculous, powerful things because they have no magic. Don't care. I like exceptional strength. I'm not giving that up. It's just too much fun in the game. Oh yeah, and then you roll for your birthday. That's easy. You roll a D12 for the month, D4 for the week, and a D8 for the 1st through 7th, 1 through 7. You ignore the 8. And then you can figure out your birthday. So first week, if I rolled an 8, that would be 7. Whatever you roll, D12, D4, D8. And you can determine your birthday. Birthplace probably won't even come up in the game. I don't have the world developed enough to do something like that. But if you wanted to have a birthplace, it's there for you. So then on the back, I don't think there's anything else to tell you. I think I showed you everything. Yep. So that's the system that I use to roll up a character. I know it might be a little complicated. You might think it's too messy. I can always tweak it and try to make it a little better here and there as I go. But I like the system, and I really like when the player is rolling their character and everyone is participating, you can see where decisions would be made. Like, you should try to improve your dexterity. I wouldn't bother with that intelligence roll. I'd go for dexterity. And players can offer advice, especially for new players. What should you roll? What are you trying to get? And I think it makes for character creation much more interesting. And then the players all know your character now. They've watched you roll that character up. Everybody watched everyone roll up their character, so you have a better connection as a party. To me, the best way to play D&D is to try to imagine that you're really there and this is really happening, and that way you form a bond. Your party of adventurers has to work together. You don't want to be backstabbing each other unless you want to play that way, which you want to play chaotic characters or evil characters. Oh, by all means, you can backstab and steal from each other. You can do that. We had a guy in our party, in our game, decided he wanted his cleric to be evil. And he talked to me about it, and we secretly did it. They didn't know. The party didn't know. And he ends up hiding and attacking them at one point. It was just wild stuff to do stuff like that. But in general, you want to play as a group, and you're working for the good of the group, not your selfish, I want my character to get this or that or that. No, if you were really there, you would work together. You would realize how important it is. We have to work together. We have to trust each other. And that was the whole point of my story that I wrote, Forastera's Fate, which you can listen to. I narrated on my channel. The whole point of my story was that they became the best of friends so that they would trust each other, and they knew they could trust each other, and they knew they could count on each other. They never backstabbed. They never went against each other. They became the best of friends. So there was a trust issue. And to me, that's the best way to play D&D, unless you're choosing to play chaotic. But I never liked when a player tried to be selfish in the party because he wanted to have his little moment. It's like, come on. Everyone else has to just sit here and watch you have your moment. I didn't like that. I didn't like that as a player, and I didn't like that as a dungeon master. To me, if you're not working as a group, it doesn't help the game for everyone else. It makes the game worse for everyone else. Play as a group. These are your trusted companions, your trusted friends, and do it like you would if you were really there. You're going to go into a cave of orcs and be selfish? You really? They could kill you. You could die. Your best chance of not dying is to work together. For the good of the group. That was our motto when we played D&D, for the good of the group. And I think it says that somewhere in the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide or Player's Handbook. I forget. I don't know if it's in there or not. But anyway, that's my long rant, an hour video here, because I'm crazy. But I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.